Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Welcome. If you've never joined us before, we are Live from the Apocalypse. We are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that makes actual play content like podcasts and the stream that you're about to watch. We're currently in the middle of our charity fundraiser, our end-of-the-year fundraising push for Rainbow Railroad. We do this about once a year. Throughout the year, we are constantly raising money for charity. But once a year or so, we do a big push. This is the 12-ish games of Haz-Mas. The ish is because I think we actually ended up with more like 16 this year. There's a lot of interest, which is very flattering and exciting, but also a lot of work. So the way that we do things here, if you've never joined us before, is we just ask that if you like what you see, instead of doing the normal twitch.tv things like subscribing or giving us bits, you instead take the $5 or the $6 or whatever you can spare. There is no expectation. And you instead give it directly to Rainbow Railroad because we collectively, pretty much all of us, just play games on the internet, but they will do very good and meaningful and important work with it. Um, Rainbow Railroad is a very good and important nonprofit. They seek to get LGBTQ plus individuals and in these very scary times, trans individuals in specific, out of unsafe living situations and into better ones. We, to further the efforts to raise money for them, have hidden the subscribe button. You can seek it at your own peril, but you will notice that it's been replaced with a donate button. So that should make it super easy to donate. Instead, if you choose to seek the subscribe button, if you are able to find it, we can't stop you from using it. Just be aware that if you do so, beloved Dementia 20 Dungeon Master, Brendan Lee Mulligan, will kill one dog for every month you've been subscribed to this channel. He's a menace. He's a monster. I don't know what to say other than that. This is a very bad bit that I hate doing in front of people who have not played games with us before. So sorry to everybody in this game. And if you've never watched us before, I apologize for that too. I think that's most of the stuff in the things. There are channel points. There are things you can use for stream incentives. But with all that being said, I'm going to shut up and turn it over to Bleak to start the game. So enjoy.
Thank you very much, Will. Super appreciate you stepping in to do this production at the last minute and being here to guide us through this. Great fun to be back here on Life from the Apocalypse, where I did a game very similar to this one a year ago, also for Haz-Mas. Back then, it was a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, and so we're doing the same thing this year because, well, it's fun. Let's just keep doing it. Wonderful charity also, so please, if you do have the means to, of course, don't give away something that's going to be missed. But if you do have the means to, please donate what you can. As an educator myself, I see a lot of young people who struggle with, a lot of difficulties in English. So anything we can do to help is absolutely, absolutely welcome. The game we're playing today is a game called Vaesen, published by Free League Publishing. It is a game that is set in 19th century Scandinavia and is sort of an X-Files for the age. It's a little bit of a occult and supernatural and folk myth investigation game. The players play characters who work for a society called Hellstrom Society, and whenever there are creatures known as Vaesen, who are these mythical spirits who pop up and start causing trouble, these investigators are sent in to see what's going on, try to figure out if there's a Vaesen involved. If there is a Vaesen, try and figure out how to get rid of it. Things are never exactly as straightforward as they seem, and so the players have their work cut out for them. And I am super happy to have this absolutely wonderful group of players here with me tonight, including someone who played with me last year here in the Haz-Mas game that we did back then. And so I throw it over to Ethan to begin with. Ethan, please tell us who you are and sort of what's going on, and super happy to be playing with you again.
Yes, hello. My name is Ethan. I'm also called Hawk or Hawk Cooks in online spaces. And I did play Vaesen with Bleak last year, also part of Haz-Mas, and it was a fantastic time, and I'm sure this one will be as well. I don't have any live projects or anything currently, but I briefly mentioned in our sort of like Green situation earlier that I am working on a podcast that I am hoping to at least have a promo for done by the end of the year. And it will be called the Roundish Table. So you can check that out. I think I already have a account for it on what was once called Twitter. Um, And yeah, other than that, I use he, they pronouns. I am usually pretty busy between having a day job and also being a game design student. Um, yeah, that's me. And today I will be playing Raker, who is the occultist.
Awesome.
And
Thank you so
Raker
much.
uses they, he, and she pronouns.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ethan. Super glad to have you back. Next up, someone I have not played with before, and not interacted with before. It's only your first time. So, Jess, hi, how you doing?
Hello. Hi, guys, gals, non-binary pals. I'm Jess. I'm Freckle Sketches everywhere. I'm your resident fantasy cartographer and or TTRPG performer. Uh, I use she, they pronouns, and today I'm playing Eliza Woodard, the academic of the group, of more of a alchemical variety.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Look forward to playing with you. Someone I've played with before once, over on Exquisite Corpse. Alice, how you doing, Alice?
Hi, good. My name's Alice. I use she, they pronouns. You can find me pretty much everywhere online at Alice Hart or Hellion Hart. You can find me pretty much doing a whole bunch of streams pretty much everywhere. Um, and outside of that, I am an editor, producer, and player on the Monster of the Week actual play podcast. Welcome to Reddington. And tonight I am going to be playing Torsten Nielsen. He is our hunter. He uses he, they pronouns.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alice. Thanks for participating in this little soiree of ours. And last but certainly not least, as they say, Wraith. Sup, Wraith?
That's me. Hi, hello, I'm Wraith, also known as Slender Noya on anywhere I'm at, which is mostly just Twitter because I'll keep using it until it dies.
Mm.
Uh, um, I'm going to be playing a priest called Kyria Falk.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great opportunity for me to play with all of you. I look forward to diving into this with you all. I, of course, am Bleak Season, and I will be playing just about everybody else in this little thing of ours. The scenario we're playing tonight is called the Go To Knock. This scenario that I wrote, and is a bit of a Christmas story because it takes place at Yule time. If everybody's ready, I guess we can dive in there. Can I get some thumbs up from everybody? Well, good to go. All right. Then let us dive into this. Let us take ourselves back to 1840s Scandinavia, somewhere in the deep forest of Sweden. It is the eve of the Yule feast, which is essentially what Christmas back then was called. The eve of the Yule feast, and instead of being at home, warm and cozy by a fire, the four of you are freezing on the deck of a ferry that is taking you north to the small town of Ostersund. The closer you get to the city, the more boats you see on the water. Most are carrying heavy burdens of logs and timber, great big stacks of them being shipped south to sawmills to be turned into lumber for constructions for the ever expanding cities of the south. For Ostersund, once only a small dot on a map, has become in recent years the center of a major logging operation run by the Sora Timber Company. Everywhere you look now are mountains of logs, tree stumps, and lumberjacks working the forest with axes, saws, and awl pikes. The town, when you finally begin to dock, is similar to many other small towns in the central part of Scandinavia. Small houses scattered about, surrounded by forest and a bit of farmland, everything covered in a fresh coat of slushy snow. The sky is gray and heavy, promising more bad weather before this is over. At the center of the village, you can see a decorated Yule tree, twice as high as any house, almost as high as the church bell tower. But it is poorly decorated, and the branches sag badly. There are no children playing anywhere, and the few people you see who are not loggers hurrying to catch the last ferry home for Yule feast move hurriedly and cast suspicious glances about. This is a town that should be preparing to celebrate the brightest time of the long, dark winter. Instead, it appears gripped by fear, the type of fear only a Vaesen can create. As the ferry on which you stand is approaching the dock, I'd like to ask each of you to give us a little description of your character. What would people see as they watch for who is coming off this ferry this late into the season? And if you would, at the same time, perhaps tell us a little bit of a little encounter or a little moment, something that occurred or happened to your character during the trip that might give your character a little bit of inspiration for the adventure to come. Um, would anyone like to begin? It's just I'm a teacher, and it's just like in class when I ask a question. There's just a
Yeah.
so I am going to go ahead and
As a former teacher who knows that feeling, I'll go ahead and go.
all right.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
So yeah, Raker or Ray is a pretty skinny person. They just have, a big, not big, but like kind of just a flop of hair on the top of their head. And they're dressed in pretty common like street clothes. Honestly, they probably took a lot of their outfit from a dumpster or something somewhere. And you can kind of see if you look close, like some of the edges of like his sleeves are kind of burnt, and same thing on like their shoes. It's not in good quality. A lot of like burn marks and all that stuff. Um, and part of that I think did come from on the way up here. While they were just sleeping one night, they had a dream of just in a very, very, you know, white sea of what appeared to be like snow and ice, someone going into a random home and just leaving an ember in that home, and eventually that ember grew into a fire and destroyed the home. And when they woke up, they kind of realized, oh, I kind of smell some smoke, and like looked around, and part of their jacket was a little burned. Probably slept too close to the fire.
probably exactly what happened. As you disembark with this faint odor of burnt wood following you, hanging in the air around you as if it was your favorite perfume, who is stepping up behind Riker? I'm gonna have to pick a volunteer.
Eliza probably would. She is late 40s, well to do, like classic school teacher vibes. She's got long, plain brown hair pulled back into an untidy bun, um, and kind of jingles a little bit with her various potion bottles and salves and things. Uh, she is in higher spirits than usual. Uh, Ever practical, she usually kind of sees the world with a glass half empty. But someone on the ship during their travels here had given her a most recent newspaper, and she had not really had heard word from or of her family in quite a long time. And there was a nice little article about the Woodard family estate uh, that just warmed her heart a little bit extra. So while she comes into this bleak place, she's still got some pep in her step.
Perfect. Thanks so much. As you disembark off the ship and certainly see that this is not perhaps the type of
Yeah,
place with
Justin, fucking grip it,
of
baby.
refinement that you would
Slop
be used
that
to.
down,
Nonetheless,
dude.
see that it
Yeah,
is
dude.
very
Crack
cozy,
one for the big
and
boy.
that for all the sort of atmosphere of fear that seems to be hanging over everybody, people do seem to be still happy-ish people. Like it's not like a rundown, bedraggled kind of little village. Who is stepping up next off this ferry? Just two of you. Race.
Kyria is taller, slender, dressed warmly and conservatively, but the priest's collar can be seen poking out from underneath their coat. They have a very clearly well-loved, and by that I mean it is beat to all hell, holy book poking out of their side bag. They have long, dirty blonde hair tied into a very neat braid going down their back. And on the ship, they actually encountered someone who had known their father way, way, way back in the day. And so it was enlightening and heartening for them to be able to bond with someone who knew their family in a way that they did not quite get to.
Excellent. As you step off the boat and take in this place, you realize that while there is a church, and you can clearly see its steeple and the bell, you get a sense, a feeling that this is still a place that very much believes in the old ways and the old gods and the old spirits and so on and so forth. And that clash between the new religion and civilization, all that, and the old ways is very present here, and you can feel it almost as a friction in the air. This kind of constant little tug of war between the two of them. And finally, perhaps the person who knows the area best, better than anybody else on this particular boat today, Alice.
Thorsten kind of approaches the last of them as they head off the ferry. He's a big, broad, kind of tall bear of a man, long blonde hair that's kind of been like braided back into like these sloppy braids to keep it out of his face. Prior to boarding the ferry, he, as his career is, he was hunting for some fresh meat to either take along on the trip with him or have with him in the village when he came back. He had been chasing down a fox that he had managed to get out of its den, a little uncommon in the winter, and more uncommon the fact that when he thought he had finally cornered the creature, he found bones, something that had been long, long dead, picked clean. Clearly a fox, but whether it was the one he was chasing or not, there's nothing left for him to take with him.
Excellent. And so each of these little interactions, and you, Thorsten, as you alight from the boat into this place, that you've been here before, you recognize a few people and they wave to you. And some of them, of course, seeing you arrive with a group of strangers, are kind of curious and, take a sort of a peek around, and you can sense that right away there's probably already word that's spreading throughout this town of this group of strangers that have arrived with.
Yeah, Justin, fucking grip it,
baby. A lot of you,
slop that down, dude. Shit, yeah, dude. Crack one for the big boy.
I'll get an advantage thanks to your little encounter. So you have an advantage that you can use anytime you want. You just have to declare it. And what an advantage does in this game is it gives you 2 extra d6 to roll to any roll that you would like. So you have that in your back pocket to use when you see fit. As you are standing about, one of the men who works on the dock is busy tying up the ferry, and then comes over. Thorsten, you know him as Pierce. He's one of the local workers. He comes over and doffs off his cap and beats off some of the snow that has fallen on it, and goes, "Yeah, how goes there, Thorsten? Been a while since you've been in town."
Yeah, but they, city folk needed a guide, so I'm gonna take them to see Mr. Rod.
Oh, well, should be in his shop. Busiest time of year right now. Hey, mind if I ask you a question? He comes over and
Yeah, if the three of them are not like wandering away, he'll take the moment to.
He leans in and goes, these city folk you got here, are they the law? They hear about the strange occurrences, or?
I mean, I don't think they're really with the law, but
Hmm.
there was some group looking into things.
Well, I was just gonna say that from everything I hear, I don't think the law is gonna have much of an impact on this. Very strange what's been happening, and I gotta tell you, personally, I think this town is cursed. And I think that maybe you'd want to talk to your, well, city folk there and maybe convince them that the best thing to do is to turn around and go back to where they came from originally. I don't think this is a good place for people to come and just vacation through, you know what I mean?
I don't think they're quite here for scenery and relaxation.
Well,
Hopefully, they've got some sort of solution in their back pocket that we can't figure out.
well, I certainly hope so, because it's been a strange time here, and, with Yule Feast just around, well, it's really dampened the spirits, and of course, those poor families now are suffering because of all this. Well, if your city folk can do anything about it, so much the better. Anyways, you'll find Nicholas, old Nicholas, back in his shop. You remember where that is, right?
Torsten knows. Alice does not.
Yeah, no, Torsten knows. Yeah, for sure. Just Torsten, just mind some strange creature about goat-headed creature. A couple of people have seen it walking about at night dressed in red. Devilry is what it is. I see that one of your city folk there is a priest, and well, I suggest you stick close to that one, because that's probably the only thing that's going to protect you from this thing.
Like I said, they're part of some group that knows more about this kind of thing than some backwoods hunters, so hopefully they know
from your
what they're
lips
getting
to
into.
Odin's ears. All right, well, I gotta get back to work. Stay safe, all right?
You too.
Meanwhile, the other three of you are standing on the side of the pier, taking in this place. There's a lot of work going on. There's, lumber everywhere, lumber everywhere you look are stacks and stacks of lumber. There are tree stumps everywhere. There are boats laden with lumber. It's just this massive operation. You can see off in the forest dark smoke that's rising, the constant sound of wood being chopped, of people hauling it, the river itself. The trees that are cut further upriver are just tossed in the river and are floated down to here to be loaded on ships. And you can see some of the lumberjacks that are riding these logs and jumping from one to the next and controlling the flow of them. And it's just this constant industry that's kind of going on. And in addition to that kind of feeling of fear that you kind of sensed in the people as you came in, gives this place a very oppressive feel. It should be kind of this quiet, quaint little cozy cottage village, but there's this sort of very oppressive feel to it. So as you're standing there looking at it, what do you do?
Are we sure this is the place? It seems a little bleak, dreary, wrong.
I mean, isn't that kind of the point?
A little more than I expected.
Yeah, well, it's kind of what you can expect when you do what we do.
We wouldn't be here if something wasn't wrong.
I know it's not much to look at, but they're good people and they deserve your help. So
I wouldn't say it's not much to look at. It's impressive work. It's work I certainly couldn't do.
I know it's not
Well,
much
we
to
should-
you city folk sometimes, but I'd best be getting you to Mr. Rod. No one else has any business to handle.
lead the way.
I certainly don't. Let's go.
As you, oh, I just heard the kitty. As you cross the village, you see people, of course, giving you kind of the weird eye. They're wondering, who are these strangers? Obviously, city folk coming down to their village at a time of such, dark happenings. You cross the village, go by the big Yule tree in the center of the place, and eventually arrive at what looks like it was once maybe a small farm or something like that. There's a nice little house, kind of a little cottage, but in the back, what used to be the barn seems to have been transformed. You see a sign out front that says Nicholas Rod Toy Maker. And from the sounds that are coming from the barn area, what used to be the barn, it's very clear there's some sort of industry happening. You hear banging, people hammering, you hear sawing, you hear singing. They're um, apparently a group of very happy workers in that little barn working away, apparently making toys. As you approach the front door of the barn area, it will open up, and this man with wearing this red leather apron and vest with his long white hair and big gray white beard um, step out in front of you and look up at you and go, very sorry, we're not taking any more orders today. We've got our quota, and we're going to have difficulty getting just that done. So perhaps if you could come back tomorrow or the day after, we'd be able to help you at that point.
Oh, we're not here to make an order. We're here for other business.
Who are you there? What type of business then would this be?
We were sent here about your goat problem.
Oh, you're people from Uppsala. Very sorry, very sorry. Yes, absolutely. I've put a portrait of the man you were talking to on the owlbear if you want to get a sense. Very sorry, very sorry. I thought you were prospective clients. It's a busy season, you see. Would you like some tea? Perhaps we could talk inside my house. Please, come along. My name is Nicholas Rod, toy maker by trade, as you can see. Please, step in. I'll make you some tea, and we can have a bit of a chat about what's going on. So he leads you inside.
Yeah, I'll step in and...
Yeah, please go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll just step in and take a look around and see what I see and, like, maybe what I can pick up about this guy from the surroundings.
So what I would like all of you to do then is give me a logic and vigilance. However, Ethan, if you want, you can roll your magic instead if that's better for you.
They're the same.
So roll number d6 equal to your stat and your skill, logic and vigilance, and tell me how many sixes you get.
Got 2 6s.
Excellent.
None.
No sixes.
I got
One
no
six.
sixes.
All right. One of the important rules about this game is the fact that you can push. Now, when you fail a roll, or if you get a success but would like more, you can attempt to push, which means you exert yourself. And you can re-roll all your failed dice. However, if you do that, you take a condition. When you take a condition, it means that you get -1 die to all of your rolls in that category until you can rest or be healed. So those of you who failed, would you like to push at this particular point, or would you like to hold off on
Nah, this is very in character.
that? Okay.
I'm going to hold off.
Excellent. So I believe it was Eliza who had 1 success, right?
Correct.
All right. So with 1 success, as you are walking towards the house, you can feel in the air something that you've long associated with the presence of supernatural creatures. There's something in that barn, or someone or whatever in that barn, that to you smells of the supernatural. Now, you can't tell much more than that. You can tell what they are, who they are, or whatever, but there's definitely a sense of that. Um, Wraith, you got 2 successes, right? So you get a little bit more out of it. You feel the same thing. You certainly detect that there's a presence of something supernatural in that barn. Um, on top of that, you detect that whatever is in that barn is intrinsically tied to this place. This is not some sort of spirit or power that's come from somewhere else to here. It is very much tied to this place and cannot really easily be separated from it. And so, probably to a certain degree at least, would be given to want to protect this place or to take care of this place. You don't get a sense of malevolence from it. Um, and that's what you get. So as you walk into the his house, he's got a very quaint little cottage. He'll set you up in the kitchen. There's a nice little fireplace going. He will make some tea for everyone. He's got these nice little biscuits that he puts out. After a little bit of chit chat and sort of, kind of making the tea and getting to know you, he'll say, "Well, I gotta say, I'm very glad that you've made it. There's some dark business afoot, very dark business afoot in this village, and well, to be honest, I think we could use all the help that we could get. My understanding is that you are used to dealing with things that are perhaps outside the bounds of what we would call normal, or outside the bounds of what we would consider natural. Am I correct in assuming this?"
Indeed.
Oh, yes. Very much.
Hmm. Tell me, when you've investigated such things before, as I assume you have you found the presence of whatever it was that was haunting the place to be um, generally malevolent in nature, or perhaps just something that has been disturbed and is seeking to protect itself?
Mm,
I mean,
There have been both, but usually there's a reason for everything.
There's always a reason.
And is it standard for these things to take human lives, or?
I mean, again, it depends.
It doesn't take a killer to murder, only a reason to kill. And often we've found that they find a reason one way or another.
Hmm. Let me ask you something. And he points over to Kyria. You're a priest, am I right?
Yes.
What does one of your faith make of all this hocus pocus supernatural stuff? I would assume that one who wears the cloth is not given to believing in such things.
Belief is interesting, especially when faced with evidence that I have seen. It is
So,
it is not so much that I believe in the supernatural, that I believe in the effects that we have investigated and the results that we have gotten from that.
hmm. So you believe then there is room in this world of ours for your beliefs and the older beliefs, the older things to exist.
Of course,
You do not think that they are mutually exclusive?
I do not presume to have all of the knowledge of the world and beyond. I know what I have learned and what I have seen, and quite frankly, I am simply a human, and that is
Hmm.
I will continue to learn about new existences until I pass on, frankly, and perhaps even after.
Very interesting. He kind of arches an eyebrow and looks at you a little bit. Very interesting to meet one of your faith who seems to harbor many secrets, but, well, that is not for me to adjudicate. It gives you a little smile. And what about you? He's looking over at Raker. Is that burnt wood I smell coming off of you?
Yes, I might have slept a bit too close to the fire last night. And he kind of like holds up the elbow of the jacket and shows where there's a burn patch. It happens when you're a restless sleeper.
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know that fire inherently is not good or evil. It is mainly something that exists, and it is what we do with it that can turn it to a tool for good or evil. I, of course, am not one who generally has much to do with those of a more naughty disposition, but I do appreciate someone who can respect the fact that without even being good or evil, fire is a very potent force. It can change many things.
Oh, very much so.
And what about you? You have the look of someone who's very studious and given to book learning. Am I misreading you?
Not at all. Very perceptive of you.
Hmm. Your books, there is much truth to be found, or do you feel that perhaps it is on these occasions like this where you get to go outside and confront the real world that you get the more useful lessons?
Practical application is always the best form of learning, at least in my experience. And what better way to figure out these so called supernatural things other than to get up close and personal with them and figure out ways to explain it? May not
Mm-hmm.
always be something supernatural. I've often found that it can be attributed to something with rabies.
You do not get tired at times of always trying to explain what appears to be unexplainable?
No, actually, I find it rather intriguing.
Hmm.
It's a good exercise.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, um, believe I've seen you around here before. Um, Neil's son, isn't it? Mr. Torsten?
Yes, sir. I'm in and out of town a lot. Uh, kind of keep to myself, to be honest. But I help out with some of the families when they can't get meat and
Hmm.
making sure that these folk don't get lost.
How's your leg? I seem to remember a story where you were at some point trapped in the forest alone with a broken leg, but you managed to escape that particular predicament. How is your leg these days?
Mostly healed, old injuries, throbs in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Not so fond of the winter, but winter's going to come regardless, so make do.
Does winter does come around at least once a year, like my granddad used to say. Well, a very interesting lot. I'm not quite sure yet whether you should be on the naughty or nice list. I'll reserve judgment for a little later. However, for now, I think perhaps it would behoove us to get to the matter at hand. My friends, there have been three strange murders in this town. You are, of course, aware of the Yule Klop tradition, the tradition of walking up to someone's home and knocking on their door and leaving a straw goat outside as a sort of prank. It seems someone in this town has taken this particular tradition to someone more macabre. And it started a few weeks ago. The first one was a man called Carl Lindberg. His wife woke up to find him lying in the doorway to his house. His skull caved in as if he'd been rammed by some beast or other. We thought it was perhaps some isolated incident, someone who had a personal beef with Mr. Lindbergh. He was not a very likable fellow. A lumberjack, he worked for the Sodra Timber Company. The next to go was Mr. Lars Nielsen. Nielsen was also a worker for the Sodra Timber Company. Same thing, early morning, heard a knock at the door, went to answer. Now, Mr. Nielsen was a lifelong bachelor, so there was nobody else in the house with him, but his neighbor did recall hearing the door knock and looking out the window. That was creepy. That was my light going to hell.
Atmosphere.
That was creepy. What am I going to say? The neighbor recalls seeing outside his window a strange figure dressed in a red hood and cloak. The door opened, the figure stepped forward, there were sounds of a scuffle. The neighbor saw the figure leave and thought he saw horns, like a ram's horns, on top of the figure's head. The victim, Lars Nielsen, killed the same way as Carl Lindbergh, with the head crushed and bashed in as if some powerful blow. A few days ago, Petra Olsen, also a worker for the Sodra Timber Company, killed in the same way. She was at her sister's home. There's a little bit of confusion as to whether or not she was the intended target or somebody else might have been in the household. But she was at her sister's home, and there was a knock at the door, and she went to answer again very early in the morning. And, well, her sister reports seeing only in the darkness, framed by the doorway, this goat-headed creature. Her sister lying there on the floor, her head caved in, blood everywhere. That was a few days ago. There have not been other murders, but people are starting to talk. People are starting to say that they see this strange goat-headed creature walk about at night, that it's the devil himself, perhaps, or something else sent from hell to punish some of the people here, but there seems to be no real motive for this. These people were all connected to each other through the company they work for, but besides that, there was nothing to gain from such murders. There's one more thing that might be of interest to you. All of the victims had branches and leaves from an ash tree woven in their hair, and a piece of ash bark placed in their mouths. Now, what do you make of that?
Well, it sounds ritualistic at the very least. But, as you said, it sounds like these people all worked for the same company, so maybe we should start there. See where, where in the woods they've been taking their stock lately.
You can certainly try to talk to people from the company. If you go down to the docks, you'll see where their operations are on the other side of the river. You might have to hire a boat to take you across, but shouldn't be too difficult. Someone's always looking to make a few extra kroner this time of year. That may be a good place to start looking.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. What about the rest of you? Where are your minds settling?
I'd frankly be interested in seeing the bodies if they're still out. If they haven't been burned or otherwise. But I think the company is a good lead.
Well, if you are intent on seeing the bodies, unfortunately, 2 of them have already been interred, but the third one should be available. You might want to go down to the central to the town hall where the body is being kept until arrangements can be made after the holidays for its burial.
Thank you.
Just ask for the bailiff. They should be able to help you. My friends, I hope you can elucidate this mystery for us. The town should be celebrating. It is Yule's Eve, and people should be getting ready to receive people and feast and enjoy and have fun and celebrate the um, lengthening of the days to come. But fear grips us. Anything you can do to help will be greatly appreciated. And if I can be of any assistance while you're here, please do not hesitate to come and fetch me. I'll available day or night for you.
Appreciate it. It may be wise to ask other workers of the lumber mill to not answer their doors in the early morning. I know it's tradition, but
I think that at this point, pretty much everyone is going to be avoiding opening their doors early in the morning. Well, please take some of these baked goods if you would like with you. Anytime you need, feel free to come back here. Always have a nice kettle on for you. If you have any questions or if there's anything I can do to help, please come and see me. I do have quite a long list of toys to get ready, so I'll be attending that, but do not hesitate to come and find me if you need me. Best of luck.
Well, thank you. We will be sure to make use of your services should we need them.
So he'll wait till you finish your tea and eating your snack, and once you've left, he will close the door behind you, thank you once more, and head back into the shop where you can still hear the sound of craftsmen's at work. And you will be standing there in the snow in the middle of the street. It is at this point probably just before midday. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm here at your disposal for as long as you'll be investigating this issue. I'll be honest, I am more familiar with the woods and the creatures in them than much about the village, to be very fair.
Well, I know my colleague here would like to go and see the body that is available at some point, though I do think we might want to prioritize going into the forest to check out the logging area first, simply because at a later time it might become more difficult, especially, if it takes so long that we have to wait until dark, and
I can't
nobody wants to be
guarantee.
alone in the woods at dark.
No, I can't guarantee your safety after the sun goes down, to be very honest. One of me.
What would you like to do? You want to split up, or do you want to go all to one place? Or
Uh, Dividing and conquering would not be our worst idea. Some of us can go into the forest.
Hmm.
Others of us can see the bodies. Body.
At least while it's light out. After dark, I don't know that we should be separated for very long.
Yes, agreed.
I definitely agree with that.
So then, who's going
So
where?
how about I take our new friend here for a nice lovely walk in the woods this afternoon, and then we'll come and find you at the mortuary something. I forgot what the body was being held, to be honest.
The town
A
hall.
town hall.
We have to see
That's
the bailiff at the town hall. Yes.
hmm, bit disgusting to keep a body in a town hall, but
They probably have like some
I
sort
guess
of
they have to do what they
infirmary or
do.
something there, like some sort of little hospital or something there.
Small towns.
Mhm.
Buildings are multi-purpose.
Small towns make do, I suppose.
All right. So who the I take it that Torsten and Raker then are heading out into the wilds. Is that it? And you are going where exactly?
Yes, I believe so.
Just to take a look out in the
We're
forest,
gonna
see what you might encounter.
yeah. Specifically, I would like to go and look at whatever site that was it Sondra was the name of the company has been logging at.
Sodra, yeah.
Sondra.
Well, let me tell you this, Alice, if you would, give me a logic and vigilance roll.
All right. No sixes.
Okay, no biggie. So basically, I was just checking if you knew any specific spots to go and check, but it's not really something you paid too much attention to. They're all over the place. So you will set off and do that. The other two, you'll be heading down into the village, and we will start with Wraith and Jess. So you make your way down to the center of the village. The town hall is not too difficult to find. It's one of the biggest buildings in the place. The other one's the inn, which you figure at some point you'll probably go and check in, but for now, there's no need to do that. When you arrive at the town hall, you can see the town hall itself is closed, but there's a sign that says for bailiff, see around back. So you follow around. And it's a small. It's not small. It's a big wooden building. Um, when you come around to the side, you can see that there's a sign that says bailiff, and inside you can see that there's kind of like a little county jail kind of thing, and then there's another sign to another door that leads inside that's got infirmary written on it. When you step in, you find a man sitting behind a desk, his feet up on the desk. He's got these big, winter boots up. His feet are up. He's got a nice little coal fire going. He's got a pipe. And as you step in, he goes, "Good day. How may I help you? Oh, visitors. Oh, please, please, come in."
Thank you very much.
He
Um,
empties out his pipe and his little thing. May I be of service?
are you the bailiff?
I certainly am. My name is Thomas.
Thomas, good to meet you. I'm Eliza.
Eliza, pleasure to meet you. Father?
Hello.
We are here investigating the odd goings on, and
Hmm.
if if it isn't too much trouble, I was interested in seeing the recently deceased.
Are you some kind of law? Is that what's going on here?
No law enforcement here. Just here to investigate what's going on and see if we can put a stop to it.
On behalf of who?
Um, yeah. On behalf of our employer, who was sent here.
Well, you see, it's a bit of a touchy matter. I can't really just let you see the body. There are questions evidence or questions of the rights of the deceased, of the family, unless you have some sort of winning argument for me. I'm afraid it's going to be very difficult to let you do this.
Fair enough. Where then can I locate the deceased's family?
Oh, well, they're in town, so you can tell that he's kind of like he's wanting to be convinced. Like you can tell that he's kind of maybe smelling an opportunity or something, and he's just sort of hoping to get something out of this more than anything else.
What was the name of our organization again?
The Hellstrom Society. So the Hellstrom Society is not something that's really known, so it wouldn't really have much weight. You get the feeling that you're probably going to need to either kind of spin a good lie to convince this guy, or maybe he's amenable to being paid off.
Well, we don't have very much time, after all. It's been so many over so little time.
Mm-hmm. Never know when another one's going to hit the floor.
That's true. So you wouldn't let someone of, say, the Woodard estate just take a little peek, see? Supervised peek, see. We wouldn't touch. Nope. No touching. Just looking.
Well, so go ahead and give me an empathy and manipulation roll. Wraith, if you want, you can help. In which case, you would be giving an extra die for just to roll. But if you want to do that, I would ask you to tell me what you do to help.
I'll help and just kind of, and I mean, realistically, I will be there with her. There's no. We simply want to help understand what's going on and give relief to these families. If nothing else, I can perform a quick funeral blessing for her.
Mm. He seems to be thinking about it. So, yeah, totally buy it. So, you can add a die to your roll, Jess, and you can go ahead and give me your empathy and manipulation.
1-6.
That's good enough. He's like, well, I guess it couldn't hurt much, I guess. But just a quick peek now and no touching anything. Got your word?
You have my word?
Absolutely.
All right, then. So he'll guide you down the hallway towards where the infirmary is. He's got a key, and he'll get to a room that says medical examiner, and he'll unlock that, and inside you can see that there's like the room is super cold. There's a window that's slightly cracked open, really high up, and the room itself is very, very cold. And lying there on a bed with a bedcloth over it is a form. All right, it's okay for you to, you know, pull the cloth down over the head if you need, but don't touch anything else. This place kind of giving me the creeps, so I'm just gonna wait outside here for a second, but hurry up, all right?
We'll be quick.
Sure.
So he'll step outside, but he leaves the door open and he just sort of leans back against the wall and lights up his pipe. You are in the room. It is very cold and the light is very poor. Here's just a little bit of light that's coming in from that window up there. Your breath is coming out of your mouth in these long blows of steam. And there is a body lying there in front of you. What would you like to do?
Eliza is immediately going to just pull the cloth down and take a long look at the adornments Nicholas was telling us about.
Same. I'm looking for the placements of the both the wound and the uh, ash tree additions.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some choices. You can either make a precision and medicine roll, or you can make a logic and investigation roll, whichever you like.
I'm going for logic investigation.
Okay.
Same.
A single
Two
6
sixes.
again.
One each, you said?
2.
2? All right. So, as you're examining the body, first of all, you'll notice that you pull down the the cover. The woman looks like she was probably in her early 40s. Um, she's she was a lumberjack. She's very broadly built, very solidly built, and most of the front of her head has kind of been caved in. Now you notice that she's very tall. She's like easily 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah, just
And
fucking
the
grip it,
blow seems
grip
to have
it,
come kind of
baby.
directly in the
Slop
front
that down,
of the
dude.
head,
Shit,
kind
yeah,
of
dude.
crushed
Crack
down
one
the
for the
skull
big
area.
boy.
With your success, what you do kind of notice is that the blow appears to be very uniform, like it's almost circular, like almost perfectly circular. But the way it caves into the skull, it looks like it's something that starts out big and then kind of gets narrower, sharpens down to a certain degree. With your 2 successes, Wraith, you will find on a little tray on a desk nearby, also kind of covered by a cloth. You will open that up and you will find a bunch of little ash tree branches and a piece of ash bark. Now, when you pick it up, or actually, I'm not going to tell you what you do with it. So you find that. Your successes are still there. So tell me what you want to do. How do you want to investigate this? What do you want to do? Do you want to touch them? Do you want to look at them? What do you want to do with them?
I think angling myself so I'm blocking what I'm doing as best as possible. Pick them up and investigate them. See if there's any engravings on the piece of bark, if it's big enough, if there's anything of note.
So when you pick up the branches, there's pieces of hair that are stuck in them, like when they took out the branches because they were kind of entwined in the hairs. The first thing you notice is that where the hair and the branches are entwined together, it looks like the hair has started to be absorbed by the branches. You know, like how sometimes, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but sometimes like a tree's branch will reach out to another tree and then it will start to kind of get embedded in it, sort of thing. So it's
Mhm.
sort of like that, where they've really started kind of embedding into each other. And as you're holding it, you can almost see the hair and the branches twisting and moving and sort of wrapping again around each other as if it's still alive in some ways. And when you see that, you kind of shake your head a little bit, and then it stops doing it. And you're not quite sure that you actually saw that. It's a little bit unsettling. But when you pick up the piece of bark, it's just lying there, and it's looks like normal bark. And you pick it up, and when you pick it up with your fingers and your thumb underneath it, the underside feels fleshy. It's sort of wet. And when you turn it over, the underside of the bark looks almost like meat, almost like skin. And it's kind of warm to the touch.
And it doesn't look like it's skin that was removed from her that we can tell
No,
at
it looks like
least.
it's part of the.
Interesting. Quickly put it back down.
kind of kind of unsettling.
Hmm.
Otherwise, the body seems unhurt. It doesn't seem to have any other sort of wounds or anything like that. Um, and that's what you get to find here.
Well, at least it looks like her death was probably quick.
At least. This is quite brutal.
It's certainly that.
Um, you can, if you want, Jess. You do have the talent erudite.
How do we how do I go about using that? I
You
wanted
tell me
to.
you want to use your erudite, and then
Let's go for it then. Yeah.
all right. So you have to make a learning test. So you're going to roll your logic plus your learning.
Okay. Ugh, no sixes.
Okay. Do you wish to push? If you push, because it's a mental power, you're going to take one of the mental conditions, which means that until it gets reset or rested, you're going to have -1 to any rolls made from logic or empathy. You do have your memento, which once per session you can use to heal one of those conditions. There are other ways too, with rest or things like that. But it's something to think about. Would you like to push your roll?
Mm, yeah, let's push. Why not?
Okay, so you get to reroll anything that wasn't a success.
So all of them. Sweet. Two sixes.
Excellent. So choose one of the mental conditions. Not broken, but angry, frightened, or hopeless.
I'm
Um,
going with angry.
yeah, you're probably angry, like 'cause you're like. So at first, this kind of rings a bell, like you're like you feel like you should know something about it, and it's not coming. So you start getting angry with yourself, like, "Come on, remember this," sort of thing. And then eventually, it sort of comes to you. And what you can sort of remember from things like this, it reminds you of how the thing it reminds you most of is some sort of leech. In some ways, these items that were placed on this person seem to have been placed there to absorb something from that person. Um, this could be psychic energy, it could be actual flesh or blood or anything, but it definitely feels to you like these items that were put there. You remember, I think earlier it was Riker who said that it seemed ritualistic. And you're not so certain that it's ritualistic. You kind of almost feel like it's predatory or um, um, what's the word?
Intentional?
When something's living off of something else, like
Parasitic?
yeah, parasitic. So it almost feels like that more than kind of a question of ritual. It really feels like whatever this is or whatever happened was trying to take something, either take something or take something back from these victims.
Hmm, that is interesting. Okay. I think with that information, Eliza's set, and she's not going to say much of a word since she's pissed off, and just start heading toward where she's where the door is.
The last thing I'll say, Wraith, for your character, you did have two successes. So I will also say that you don't feel like this is they've been talking about a goat-headed creature and devilry and things like that, and you don't get a sense that there's any sort of devilish power at work. Something else. As you step onto the hall, the bailiff is there and he goes, find anything interesting?
Lots, plenty. Thank you.
Is that so? Well, look, anything you can do to help the families get a little bit of peace in this time would be appreciated. But I'd appreciate myself if you did mention that I let you in here. People are probably going to it would probably be a little disappointed in me for that. So if you could just, maybe say you snuck in while I was off to the John or something, that'd be very kind of you.
Snuck in. We were
No
never
lips are
here. What
sealed.
are you talking about?
All right then. Well, after you. So the two of you will head out and hopefully try to meet with your two compatriots. let us go and visit your two compatriots now. You are heading out into the forest. Now, you are heading, where do you want to head? Do you want to head out to the forest? Do you want to head out to, you know, some sort of work area for Sodra? Or are you heading to the shipping area? What would you like to do?
I was mainly thinking the work area, but if Torsten has any other ideas.
If we're getting most of the clues from inhabited areas, he probably wouldn't have much of an idea, um, unless there are more specific trees from those types of wood, notably in the forest.
So go ahead and make, you're not gonna like this again, but go ahead and make another logic and vigilance roll.
That
Both of
is my
us?
dump stat.
No, just Alice, because Torsten's the only character that's kind of been in this area. So
Nah, that's a 5, a 4, and a 2.
yeah, I mean, there's probably ash trees all over the place, so it doesn't necessarily mean anything to you. But you can certainly go to an area where there's like kind of a bit of a lumberyard kind of action, and probably someone there could tell you like, you know, where the work's happening if there are ash trees around, things of that nature. So, as you head towards one of the lumber areas, that's a little bit outside of town. You, Tarzan, start feeling a little bit better. You're outside of town. You're back in nature, sort of back in your element. The temperature is nice. It's cold, but not too cold. Just kind of a crisp, clear day with some sunshine coming down. You arrive at what looks to be a camp, and right now it looks very quiet. Like, you figure probably a lot of the lumberjacks have gone home for the Yule feast and all that. There's only a few people. As you approach, you notice that one of the areas nearby, so they've stacked a lot of timber. So they have these really long trees, these big logs of trees that are stacked into kind of like pyramids, on the length like this. And then they stack them up, and then they drive down, support beams on either side to prevent them from sort of moving.
Mhm.
And then when they want to load them, they pull whatever to load them on at the end, and then they lift them one at a time, and they sort of move them over. You notice in one of the corners of the area, you notice that one of these piles of lumbers, of logs, has kind of fallen apart. The supporting beams on one side are gone. The logs have all kind of rolled down. They're covered in snow right now. So they've been there for a while. You can clearly see that they've been covered in snow. You notice also, I will say, little flags. So there's these little pieces of wood with like red tape that's kind of floating in the wind behind them. And there's a couple of them planted around in this area. And I will say both of you can give me logic and learning.
Definitely give it to you, but that's nope.
Yeah, no, I got 2 5s, but no 6s.
No cigar. Not too sure what that's all about, but it's there. You do see a couple of people milling about. There's someone who looks like maybe some kind of foreman or something. He's got a clipboard and he's going around and he's counting logs, and then he's putting like, a strike of paint of one color on some of them and a strike of paint of other colors on the one, and he's writing things down on a board. If you wanted, you could go and talk to him.
Yes. I would like to go up to him and say, yes, you there, foreman, I presume.
Yeah, I am. Name's Hansel. You are?
My name is Raykor. I've been sent here by your boss to do some investigations. Are you aware that 3 employees of the Sodra Lumber Company have been mysteriously killed recently?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, you can tell right away that he's kind of taken by surprise and sort of feeling uncomfortable by this, and he's, kind of furtively looking around. Yeah, I heard about that. What is this about exactly?
Like I said, your boss sent me. I'm here to do a bit of an investigation since all three worked here, and that's the only three that have been killed. We want to make sure that there's nothing, wrong here causing that. You could show me like where these three worked, and if you know of anything that's been out of the ordinary lately, that would be very helpful, and I would gladly share that your helpfulness was key to our investigation.
Yeah. Look, look, I'm not too sure about this. We were told the matter was closed and not really get involved in it. You say
They're
head
from the
office sent you?
city. The village is worried, so they had some people come out. I mean, the law doesn't care about all of us out here. We're just trying to make sure that
I mean, yes, we are
nothing else
private.
happens.
It's a private investigation of sorts. Law's not involved.
Okay,
If that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, look, no, I mean, no, nothing weird. The murders themselves sure are weird, and the three of them were friends. I know that much. I didn't know them personally. They worked kind of all over. They were locals, so we used them to, mostly to find good places for us to log and whatnot. Like, we don't really mix in with the locals that much. We kind of just pay them to do their job. Look, I'm pretty sure that whatever they got involved in had nothing to do with the company. Like, it's probably just like some local beef. Like, someone was maybe sleeping with someone or something like that. I really don't think it has anything to do with the job. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that very well would be, and that is what exactly we are here to prove. So if you could just let us know, maybe if there's somewhere specifically where they were around ash trees frequently, that would be very helpful. There were, some ash tree bits left around the corpses.
Yeah, I don't know much about ash tree. There's not a lot of ash trees in this area. A lot of it's pine. A lot of it's there's not a lot of it. I only know of one place. There's apparently a copse of ash tree that's a little bit further north from here. It's just this grove of ash trees. But as far as I know, the company doesn't have timber rights there. So, I mean, I don't know that the company would really care about a few extra ash trees. It's not like it's going to make or break anything. But that's the only thing I know of. Look, to be honest, all I heard was that we were to keep away from it. So
that's fair enough, and there's surely a reason why. So if you could point us in that direction, just so we can make sure that it's clear and nothing.
Can you give me an empathy
unsavory
and
happened there.
manipulation roll?
Yes, and I do have the deceptive talent, which lets me roll 2 extra dice if I'm being deceitful.
Excellent. Deceitful.
That'll be a lot of dice. I got 3 6s.
I have a house rule. It's called the luck of the devil. When you roll 3 6s, not 2, not 4, when you roll 3 6s, you get the luck of the devil, which means that something pretty miraculous happens for you. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an advantage to put in your pocket to keep for later. Second thing is, you clearly see there's something else he's not telling you. And as you realize that, you can tell that his eyes keep kind of darting towards that area that I described earlier with the fallen logs and the little red flags and things. And because it was the devil's luck, not only do you notice that, but you get this very, very intense feeling that whatever occurred there is intrinsically tied to this case.
Okay. Yeah. So to say, well, thank you for being helpful, and just one more thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice that there's a pile of what seems to be abandoned but otherwise perfectly good lumber over there that seems to have just fallen over and hasn't been used. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah. Yeah, there was an accident. Look, the people around here, they don't necessarily always like the work that we do. Like, we try to be careful and we try not to overcut, but, sometimes locals get a little touchy about things. And sometimes some of them decide that the thing to do is, to kind of strike back maybe in some, I mean, it's silly. It's really just silly, but
Very
uh,
troublesome.
yeah, there's this local guy. His name was Hans Lindman. He's always been kind of a problem. Like he's kind of an activist, and he was always kind of, you know, out on the docks and screaming things about us, and always trying to be a pain. He came here one night about a month ago, maybe, and he tried to sabotage some of the log stacks, and unfortunately, when he tried to sabotage that one, I guess he didn't plan it properly, but the supporting beams broke and the logs rolled down and crushed him. It was really messy. Like, I don't know if you know what, like, 6 huge logs like that rolling on a human body does, but it was really just bad. And by the time we found him, like, animals had gotten him. It was just nasty. It was just nasty. And so, you know, they moved the
Yes,
logs, they
very
got the
unfortunate.
body out. Sorry?
And yes, very unfortunate and messy.
Yeah, and so they took the body away, but no one wanted to touch the wood, like, just bad luck, the wood kills someone who's full of blood. So it just kind of staying there, and I guess maybe we'll deal with it in the spring or something.
Yes, I mean, I would imagine at least the cold weather will keep it less pungent than it would otherwise, but it should be attended to eventually. But thank you for your cooperation. We will be on our way now and do our rounds, and
All right.
we'll leave you to your work. You're muted.
If you could, like, not necessarily spread the word that I told you about all this, like, I might lose my job and that would really suck.
Oh, absolutely. I will keep my lips sealed. After all, it was no fault of yours or anyone else's who was still breathing. So,
Yeah, no, he brought it upon himself, really. But all right, yeah, look, I got work to do, so good luck with your investigation, I guess.
absolutely. And
All right,
have a nice rest of your day.
but thank you. So we'll head back towards the village, armed with this information. I will say that as you are returning into town, having gotten the directions to this copse of ash trees, and the information about the murder, you will find yourselves arriving just as your friends are exiting the town hall center, the town hall, and meet up in the middle of the place. We're going to take a break here very soon, like in just a couple of minutes. But before we do that, if you want to kind of get together and go over a little bit what you found and just sort of see what you can do with that, um, and then we'll go on break. So the 4 of you arrive kind of at the same time through the magic of editing. You see each other
I hope your excursion was as fruitful as ours was.
Oh, we have some delicious morsels of information to share.
As do we.
Well,
You
would you like to go
first.
first, or shall we?
No, you first.
Okay.
And you see Eliza, she's taking out like a notebook. She's like writing down her stuff as well as whatever you're about to say.
Well, as we knew that all the victims had bits of ash trees on them, and as it turns out, there aren't very many ash trees around here. In fact, only one particular copse that we happen to get directions to, so we might want to check that out soon. There also was an unfortunate accidental death over at the soda logging company recently. Someone of the name of Hans was attempting to sabotage their operations and wound up ending his own life in the process, being crushed by some lumber.
At least according to him.
According to the foreman, at least.
Hmm.
He definitely wasn't telling us everything, but we got enough to work with for sure. And I have blackmail information for the future if we need to press him again.
Definitely want to take a look at the ash trees. There was the pieces of ash left on at least this body were disconcerting. The largest piece felt almost flesh-like, parasitic in a way. I do
Oh, that's
believe we want to
disgusting.
be careful. It was not very pleasant to hold.
My God,
I
you
believe we should
touched
be
it.
careful.
The lesions were certainly unique.
Oh, lesions? What sort of lesions? Like a knife or a whip or
Well, you would
like?
assume that after being mauled to death by, I guess, it's blunt force trauma, but there's no signs of struggle. There's nothing else mars the body. It's just a swift head strike. And that's what's
Well, I guess it was
fascinating.
quick at least.
It was very quick, yes. Irritably so. But, it's interesting to note that everyone here is a little cagey about the entire situation, because our bailiff was none too pleased about us poking around either.
Well, it sounds like the town might be hiding something, as small towns are wont to do, but we shall see.
I'm interested in investigating where each mishap took place. If they're close together and close to that copse of ash trees, that could be
Well,
telling.
the copse of ash trees is, out in the forest. I don't think it would be near any of the homes where they were, killed.
Yeah, Torsten, now that someone's kind of mentioned it, you do sort of remember hearing about this grove of ash trees, and it's about 30-minute walk outside of town up to the north.
There's anything odd about this specific like grouping of trees? Do animals avoid it a little bit more?
Go ahead and give me a empathy and observation roll.
That one I'm much better at. I've got 2 6s.
Excellent. Getting on the board.
Finally.
You do remember now that you think about it, that this grove of ash trees used to be meaningful to the village in that a long time ago it was kind of like a sacred place where before, the old ways were kind of abandoned and people started moving over to Christianity and things like that. That it was kind of known and celebrated as a place of some power or whatnot, like a natural place of power, that people who followed the old ways would go and visit. So you certainly feel that there's probably something of interest there in some ways. There's definitely a place of power there.
I mean, if we want to head out before the sun sets and before the woods on their own get dangerous, it might do some good to check out those trees. It's worrying if they're growing on bodies, but otherwise, that's a place of worship for the town. As I haven't been here for the longest time, but those that don't partake in Sunday services have been known to make their way out there.
And given what the foreman said about the locals not liking what they were doing, it's likely we might find something there.
I mean, there's a lot to not like about what the foreman's doing. After all, they didn't even move those logs.
No.
So you'll be heading over there then?
I would, if everyone's game, I'd take point and lead them out.
As you're about to set off, you see a man come running over to you. Excuse me. Are you the people from the city?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. He comes running over and sort of looks at all of you and goes, my name's Friedrich Larson. I hear that Father Kyrio Falk is with you here today. I studied with Father Falk at the seminary in Oslo some years ago, and I was hoping to see him again. It's been so long. Is he at the inn? Is he?
I'm sorry, you must be mistaken. I'm Father Falk.
Very sorry. My mistake. I'm sorry. It's just a coincidence. Well, it's too bad. I was looking forward to renewing with Father Falk. I'm very sorry to have disturbed you. Very sorry. I'll let you go about your business. Take care. And he kind of looks back at you a little bit and then runs on off.
Shall we?
And as you head out into the forest, I think this will be a good spot for us to take a break. Will, if you're listening, you're with us, Will, in spirit, if not in body. Hey, everyone. We are back. And we refreshed ourselves. Use the water closet, as they say. My friends, before the break, you had been investigating this series of murder in a small town where a company has been doing some logging. It's a small logging town. There's been 3 murders. 3 of the employees of the company have been killed, apparently by some goat-headed creature in early morning who would come up to the door and knock. And when the door opened, would kill these poor unfortunate souls. This is apparently tied to the tradition of the Yule clap, which is a tradition that comes just before the Feast of Yule here in Scandinavia, where people run up to the door and knock and then leave a straw goat outside as sort of a prank. This prank, unfortunately, has turned kind of deadly. Your investigation has revealed a few interesting things. First of all, that the wounds are all very uniform and appear to be made by some sort of implement. You also discovered that the pieces of ash wood that were left on the bodies, in the mouths of the bodies, and in the hair of the bodies appear to have some sort of parasitic life form action going on. You've also discovered that there was a murder, or sorry, not a murder, but an accident that led to the death of someone who was protesting against the company not too long ago, or about a month ago or so, who was crushed by some timbers. And you heard of a grove of ash trees that is supposedly tied to ancient practices in this area, a place of power that is about half hour up north from the city. So you've gathered your things just before you did go on break. You also had a small brief encounter with someone who thought that someone they knew as Father Kyriofok was with you, but it was apparently a misunderstanding. You head out then, hoping to make good time while there's still some daylight. Head up into the northern reaches of the wooded area here. As you travel, you'll notice that the land has been very thoroughly logged. There's just a lot of tree stumps everywhere. Only trees of a certain size and youth have been left behind because, they're not really worth anything until they grow up. But there is a clear path that is left of wood that is sort of untouched. As you're traveling north, because it is cold and because you're out in the wild and all that, we're going to make a few rolls just to see how you fare out here. So the first thing is we will ask our hunter, your wonderful guide, to see how well they can guide you and help you and prepare you to face the elements up here. So if you would, Torsten, I will say go ahead and give me a physique plus force roll. Do remember you all have one advantage. I think Ethan has two. So you'll at least have one advantage that you can use whenever you want. I'm not saying to use it now. I'm just saying you have that on hand. So Alice, what did we get? You are muted.
That better? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why it changed my microphone in the settings.
Things happen. Happens in the best family. So, what did you get?
I got 1/6 out of all the 6 that I rolled.
All right. So, well, that's pretty good. So, unless you decide you want to push the roll.
No.
Okay. Jess, your character has a mental condition. You're probably going to be making some tests out here. The mental condition will give you a -1 die to some of those rolls. Before you depart the village, would you like to take the opportunity to interact with your memento and heal this one condition, which you can do once per game?
Yeah, why not?
So can you tell us a little bit about your memento, what it means to your character, and how your character interacts with it to kind of calm themselves down and, kind of, because you were angry, really, is what you were, right?
Yes, absolutely. So this memento, she's going to pull it out of a little satchel that she keeps like on her hip. It's a ornate uh, pipe, tobacco pipe. That it's packed, and none of you have ever seen Eliza smoke before. So it just stays packed, and she holds it, she regards it, And she takes a deep breath of the probably not quite so fresh tobacco. This pipe used to be one that her late father smoked, and she just keeps it on her person because the smoke reminds her of uh, her father, who was a very calm man. So I think that would probably immediately bring her back into her usual sort of cynical self.
Okay, so you can erase your mental condition. As the lot of you then move up north, I will ask each of you to make a roll, but because your guide got a success on her roll, on their roll, you get to add that one die to your roll. In fact, I will say that it's a success for you. So all of you have at least one success, but go ahead and make a physique and force roll nonetheless to see if you get more.
Do I do that again?
No, you're good. You passed it. But yours will help them out. So
I got one more.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So that makes 2, I guess.
all right.
I also have a 2 total.
Okay, so everyone who got the 2, you're fine. It gets a little cold, but you wore correct kind of clothing. You all have a little bit of food with you, so you managed to sort of keep warm. And with only one success, Ethan, you don't take any sort of penalties, but it's a little bit more strenuous for you. The walk is long. You're in the snow. You're maybe not wearing exactly the proper clothing. It's not going to have a detrimental effect because you did get the one success thanks to House of Roll. But you do feel a little bit more kind of, like this isn't your gig. Like, you'd rather be somewhere else sort of thing. You will eventually arrive at this open area that I've put here on the map for you.
I can ask, while we're getting closer, is there like any signs of trees in general being felled a little too close to this cusp?
Not at all. In fact, there seems to be quite a cordon around it that is being observed. Like you can clearly see where the lumber company has gone around it and try not to approach it too much. You can, if you want, go ahead and make a stealth roll. This is for tracking purposes. So if you have anything that would help you with that, you can. You have Bloodhound +2 vigilance when tracking your prey. So
Yeah.
I will
I didn't know if
say,
this counted as prey.
yeah, but I will say go ahead and add a +2 dice to your stealth roll, anyways, just to.
Okay. Wow. That is no successes.
Okay, no biggie. You don't detect anything out of the ordinary. There are animals here. You can see like there's natural kind of fauna around. You don't see any sort of tracks or anything like that. The place seems pretty quiet. It's started snowing a little bit. There is this giant ash tree right in the middle of the place. You can all go ahead and give me a empathy plus observation roll. You can roll your magic if you want instead, Ethan.
I'm gonna use my advantage here.
Okay.
I'll let them go. I was going to pull up one of the talents I have.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to use my advantage here as well.
Yeah, so I have the medium talent, which lets me use observation, to basically perform seances to predict people's future and contact the dead.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that would necessarily apply here.
Well,
But I
if you
do also
want to
have the
use
crystal
if you
ball as
want
well.
to use it, you want to take a minute and sit down and kind of try to hold a little bit of a seance. You just have to tell me what you're trying to sort out or what you're targeting with it, like.
I think I would like to try and sort of see if I could call to. I think first I would want to try to call to the guy who died at the logging place
Mm-hmm.
and see if I can pull anything, like any strand of his like fate or existence from this area.
Okay. So hold on to that for 1 second. Let me see what everybody else got on their rolls.
Okay.
What did everybody else get? 1-1 and Alice
I'm
nothing.
actually going to have to push myself because somehow Owlbear Rodeo cocks a die, but also
What?
there was no. Yeah, it like landed on like its corner edge.
Okay, don't push. Just reroll then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2 6s.
Okay, excellent. So as soon as you approach the area, you immediately detect, all three of you, well, all four, I'll say, because Ethan will probably pick it up. You right away
I'll
detect the
probably find
presence of
one then.
something. There is something in this area that you would probably think is probably a Vaesen. There's that presence of something old, ancient, not necessarily malevolent per se, but definitely, like not necessarily friendly either. With your 2 successes, so I will say that you can definitely tell that it originates from the giant tree at the center of this place. And you also feel anger, but it's very strange because you don't get the sense that it's anger like, oh, the spirit of the forest is angry that they're cutting down the trees. You get the feeling that it's a lot more focused and directed and personal than that. Do you all relate that information? That was my question, if you share that information.
I don't know if Thorsten would immediately share that information. Instead, I think he'd probably approach the tree a little bit closer. Um, not hands out, not trying to make contact. Um, but trying to see if he can like pick up on anything because it doesn't feel familiar. I'm not even entirely sure he knows what a Vaesen is,
Mm-hmm.
but it does feel like something.
Okay, so I've put your tokens there on the map. You're approaching the tree. The other is you can sort of put your tokens wherever you sort of wish to have them. You're approaching the tree. You're going over there. What are the other two of you doing? Okay.
I think um I think Eliza would probably be looking specifically at any, like, if there are any fallen branches to see if any of them resemble what we found in the like, that were adorned on the
Okay.
corpse.
So go ahead and make me an investigation roll. What is What is the priest doing? Father Falk.
I think just almost casually kind of walking the perimeter, trying to see if there's anything noticeably out of place, like anything that is natural that has been damaged, or signs of people leaving things behind, anything that seems like it could be disrespectful to the space.
Okay. You can also go ahead and give me an investigation roll. I know I didn't specify this earlier, but the I'm using the term father for the priest interchangeably. It's just that's just a term. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. That is 2 6s.
All right. Ethan, are you doing your medium thing?
Yes. I'm gonna roll observation to try and use my medium ability,
Okay.
and basically just trying to find any thread of fate, basically, that would tie any of the victims, including the guy who died at the logging site, to this place.
Okay. And what
So,
is Tarstan attempting to? You're approaching the tree. What are you looking for? What is it that you're trying to do?
I guess I'm just trying to identify because something feels angry. Again, I don't think he's super knowledgeable like the other three are on this kind of thing. So it's more like he's just trying to figure out what is angry
Okay.
and maybe how he can help it.
Sounds like a plan. Go ahead and make me empathy and observation roll.
and I did get 1 success for my roll.
One sec.
Okay. So we'll go around and see how everybody fares. We will start with Eliza. So, what did you get on your roll?
I got 666.
Whoa. So, as you are going around looking for a branch, you do notice this sort of circle of stone that's there. It looks, like I said, sort of very old. There's a lot of old markings on it, things of that nature. There are like garlands and things that have been attached to it. It's clear that someone's been here fairly recently. The thing has been decorated with like things that you would associate with old Yule practices and things of that nature. And at the center of it, you see everywhere there's kind of this bed of branches and whatnot that seem to have come from the ash tree that's standing there. So you do see a number of these branches, like the ones you saw, and pieces of bark and whatnot, like the ones you saw in the infirmary. What would you like to do?
She's gonna see if she can, take some. Like, not necessarily let anybody know that she's grabbing some of this, but hopefully kind of sneaky. Take some of this and just put it in her pocket.
Okay, you bend
For
down, you
later
pick it up.
observation.
You go to put it in your pocket, and as you do, you find that you can't let go of it. And when you kind of try to remove it and you look back, you can see that it has started to meld with your flesh. It's starting to encircle your hand, and it's starting to like sink into your flesh. And it's just kind of wrapping slowly around your hand and your arm and going up slowly along your forearm. Think on that for a second. Back over to Father Fawn. You were, what was Kyria doing? You were
Just kind of walking the perimeter, trying to see if there was any signs of like damage or things left behind, anything that could be seen as disrespectful to the area.
So you walk around, you don't see anything that strikes you as being, you know, disrespectful or damaged or, you know, any of those things. As you're kind of walking around, you see something, you catch movement out of corner, and when you look, you see a face behind the tree that kind of pulls back the second you look back at it. And for a split second, when you saw that face, it was a face that you know. It was a face from a little while back. Perhaps someone who bore the same name that you do.
Interesting. We'll keep that to myself.
Ethan, what did you get on your roll?
I got 1-6.
So you reach out, you sit down and you reach out. You're reaching out for, what was his name? Hans, right? The person who was killed at the in the accident, Hans Lindemann. You're reaching out for him, and as you do, you start hearing voices, like two people talking. They're talking in low whispers. It's not very distinct what they're saying, but they seem very intimate, very conspiratorial. And as you're listening to these voices, again, you can't hear what they're saying, but it seems like there's maybe a bit of an argument that's developing. One side seems to be kind of angry at the other. One side seems to be unwilling to change their mind on something. You see for a moment a cabin, the inside of a cabin. There's a little coal fireplace going. There are some tools. On the walls, you see these drawings and these paintings everywhere of this strange figure that looks kind of like a woman, but very, very wild, with branches and foliage for hair and these kind of long, gnarly hands that look almost like tree branches. And her skin is green and her dress looks like bark. You see a man working very diligently, drawing these paintings, making them, and he's making them with love. He's making them with a lot of care and attention. You see on the desk next to him 7 iron nails. And then, as you're seeing all of this, you hear, "Have you come to burn me? I smell it on you. The smoke, the fire, the cinders. You are very dangerous. Have you come to burn me?"
I think Raker immediately tries to pull out of the trance that they're in, or whatever he's doing with that, once he starts hearing that voice.
You find yourself
like panicked almost.
You find yourself sitting alone. You don't see the others. You're in the middle of this glade and there's nothing else. There's you, there's the snow, and there's the tree, and it looks like the voice is coming from the tree itself. You don't see the others around you. You can see almost like faces or movements in the tree as if there are living beings in it that look at you. You're not being very forthcoming. You enjoy burning things, don't you? You
Whatever
love
gave you that impression that I enjoy it?
because you keep doing it, not satisfied
Does
with just doing it once.
does the rain enjoy to fall? Does the river enjoy to flow? Does the wind enjoy to blow? Some things just happen without control.
Oh, but are you really without control? Or do you simply tell yourself that you are without control because you enjoy it so much? Alice, you approached the tree. What was your role?
1 6.
You approach the tree. As you do, you feel like it's watching you. You feel like it's taking stock of you. As you're looking at it, you start feeling a strange emotion, and I'm going to give you a roll in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You start feeling a strange emotion, something that you've tried so very hard not to feel. You look at this tree, and you almost feel like there's a presence in it. And this presence in this tree is stirring you in a way that you've rarely felt stirred before, and certainly in a way that you've tried not to feel before. There's just this little kind of void where your heart should be, and you feel like there's something missing there. And that thing that is missing is feeling the absence of this presence from your life. Like you long for it, almost as if you're, is that is that love that you're feeling? That sort of sense of everything bottoming out underneath you, this sense that you're about to fall without being able to stop yourself. I'm going to give you a roll, all right? You can go ahead and make, I'm going to say an empathy roll. Give me an empathy, an observation roll.
It is 2 6s.
Very good. So the second you start feeling this, you recognize it. You recognize this feeling that you've tried to stay away from because you know how dangerous it is. And with your role, you recognize it early enough that you're able, if you want, you're able to clamp down on it. You're able to clamp down on it. But as you start feeling it, there's something in that presence in the tree that is telling you that you don't have to worry, that what has been hurting the others when you love them can't hurt this, and that it would be safe to feel that. But you recognize it, and because of your role, you can, if you want, shut it down. I'll let you think on it. Eliza, this branch is burrowing. Not burrowing, because it's not opening your flesh and making you bleed and causing a wound. It's literally just melding in your flesh. What would you like to do?
So it doesn't hurt at all.
No, it feels invasive, but not painful or anything. It's really just kind of like alien.
How fast is it moving?
Leisurely. It's really just slowly kind of seeping in.
At this point, she's going to probably speak up a little bit and say, well, lesson learned. She's going to hold up the arm that's being enveloped. Don't touch anything.
Wraith, you'll hear that, and as you turn your head towards Eliza, on the corner of your eye, you'll see that face again peeking at you from around the tree and then pulling back. But you'll hear Eliza's voice and hear what Eliza just said.
I would have expected that to be self-explanatory after already seeing the parasitic aspect of the one from the corpses. Should we try to remove that?
We can try.
And I guess I'll see if I have any luck untangling this from her hand.
Ethan, what are you doing?
I think I have powdered stag's horn. Which lets me use observation to resist the temptation of a Vaesen. So I think I'm going to try to use that to break out of this situation.
Excellent. Go for it.
All right. No. I would like to push.
Go for it.
Still nothing. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and mark hopeless. I'm gonna mark hopeless for that.
Reach into your bag, you pull out the powdered stag's horn, you lift it up, blow at it, and it goes out in front of you. It doesn't have the impact that you would like, and you just hear laughing, and the voice then says, if you want to go, I'll let you go. But you should know this. There is only one way to be rid of me, and that is to burn me. But if you do that, you'll just be confirming what I've been telling you and what you know all along. That you enjoy it. You have always enjoyed it. Even that first time. And on that last word, you get this breath of cold air that hits your face. You shake your head. There's this gust of wind that has just blown through this this grove of trees. You're sitting there, and like there's snow that has drifted up over your legs. You can see in the corner near the stones that the priest is trying to help the academic do something with the hand. You can see the hunter standing in front of the tree and just staring at it, almost as if entranced. What will you do as your first action as soon as like you sort of get hit by that blast of wind and are back in reality?
I think Ricker takes a second and is like still kind of okay, assessing situation. Well, the tree growing out of the academic seems like the most immediate concern. So Ricker is going to go up to Eliza and say, I think I can help with this. However, expect it to hurt.
Before you do that, I'll ask you to do one thing, though. Give me a logic and learning roll, because you saw a lot of things, and I want to see if your character would have any idea what you're dealing with.
Yeah. 1 success.
The paintings, the ash tree, the woman, the iron nails, the burning, starting to come together for you. You're pretty sure that you're dealing with what's called an ash tree wife. Some ash trees are inhabited by an ash tree wife, a terrifying Vaesen that is bound to the tree, demanding offerings from the people at certain times of year. She can haunt those who damage the tree, spread disease, and twist people's minds. The ash tree wife resembles a human woman combined with certain features of the tree: long green hair, bark-like skin, horns-like branches. They traditionally control the tree and the greeneries in the surrounding area. One thing you know with your one success is that the only way to kill an ash tree wife is to cut down or burn the ash. So that's what you're kind of putting together from all the things that you saw. Okay, so you're going to head over to try and help them with the branch. Before we get to that, so hold on to what you were wanting to do. Alice,
Yes.
you thought about what you want to do.
I mean, his first instinct at this emotion is to like actually start reaching out to touch the tree, and probably gets a little bit closer. And I think when he hears Eliza saying not to touch anything, Kirsten kind of realizes that this false emotion is not his own. And I think instead he just kind of like draws back his hand. I know I don't know what you are, what this is, but if you're angry, you're so angry. How do we help?
You should know better than the others. You know what it feels like to have the one you love taken from you. You know what it feels like to know that others have taken the one thing that matters most to you, the one person who cares about you. They have come in the night and they have killed him, and for that they must pay.
Who did they take from you?
They took him. They took him from me.
Is it a person? Another creature like you?
No. He was one of yours. Unlike you. Simple and beautiful and kind. He was always there to protect me from the others when they came. with their axes and their saws and their fire. He stood up to them, prevented them from approaching me. He prevented them from buying me and my children. And for that, they killed him. And now, they will all die.
I know it hurts to lose the people you care about, but you keep hurting people. They're just, it's not.
Are you trying to tell me that if you had the opportunity to kill the one who has been following in your shadow, hurting the ones you love, that you would not take that opportunity? You would simply let them walk away?
And that's a hard question to ask. I mean, I could I could kill a lot of things, and that's still not going to bring anyone back. And even worse, it might hurt me more. It might not going to bring them back. And I don't necessarily want to kill for revenge. I want it to stop. And I don't I don't want it following me if you're saying it's a thing, but I don't necessarily know how death is going to help. And can't help but think if you keep causing death in a village, they're not going to just come after you.
They are already coming after me. They won't stop. They have killed every other tree in this forest. And one day I will be the last one standing, and when I am, they will come for me. But let me tell you this. Time will come when you will get to confront the shadow that follows you, and you will have a choice to make. You will either kill them or you will continue following the exact same path you are following now. There is
I,
no other option for you.
I can't help but think that there isn't another option somehow, and that there isn't another option for you.
There are no other option. But I will tell you this. There are only 4 I want to kill. Once I have killed all 4, I will stop.
What if they're just gone?
Will you kill them for me?
What if they just leave the city and never, this town, and never have to come back?
I could not endure knowing that they still live while he does not. But you let me finish. You let me kill the 4 without interfering, and I will stop. As you're pondering that, back over at the rock, the 3 of you are there. You're seeing this tree branch that's starting to encircle the arm of Eliza, melding into the flesh. What would you like to do?
And we're not aware of that conversation, right?
You're
No.
just The hunter's just sitting up there looking at that tree.
Because I think without having seen a face, but not knowing that there is a conversation like that going on, uh, not liking the thought of having to rip or cut or burn this off/out of Eliza, Kyria calls over to the tree and just says, We're not who you're angry at. We can't be. Let her go.
Okay. And what are Eliza and Riker doing while Priest is trying to talk some sense into the tree?
Eliza is just observing everything that's happening with her arm, and she's not like she's way more intrigued than she probably should be about what's going on. And considering that the priest is now speaking to a tree, she's going to try to connect with whatever's going up her arm mentally. Just ask it what's going on.
Okay. And what is Riker doing?
Raker was going to say to Eliza, I think I can help with this, get it off. Might burn a lot, but you can try it if you want.
Let me try something first. If it reaches my neck and I've not said anything, go for it.
Okay.
Just a question, Wraith. You were addressing who when you spoke? Was it the tree? Was it the branch? Was it just the air around you? Who were you addressing?
The tree. I'm assuming all of this is relating to the tree itself, and that everything else is kind of an offshoot of it.
Okay. We'll start with you. Can you just reiterate what you said, just because it's been a couple of things? And
just that we're not the ones that it is angry at. We've done nothing to it, and to let her go.
Liar.
How?
You're a liar.
How so?
Who are you? That is not your face. That is not your name. You wear somebody else's life. How are you not a liar?
How does that bear any relation to what you are doing here?
Well, you were telling me that you are not my enemy, yet you come to me having stolen someone's life. Why would I even trust you? Why would I even take anything you say at face value? You see me pretending to be a maple tree? You see me pretending to be a pine? No. I am who I am. I'm not pretending to be someone else. I have not stolen somebody else's life. I am honest about who I am and what I do. Not so you.
But you don't see me killing anyone over it, do you?
Have you seen me kill anybody?
I've seen ash on bodies.
Your friend has
not
picked up
yours?
some. Anyone can come here and pick up pieces off the ground. I have not killed anyone. But you.
How am I to believe you?
Well, I don't need you to believe me, but you certainly need me to believe you. Because in a short moment, your friend there will find my branches digging really deep inside of her until they reach the heart of her, and they will pierce it. And right now, the only person speaking up for her is a liar.
How about a
Someone
truth for
who
a truth?
does not even wear their own skin.
A truth for a truth, then.
Coming from you, that's very rich. But tell me, and we will see.
Valeria. Valeria Falk.
And why not keep that?
Because no one listens to Valeria Falk. People listen to a priest. There is power in a priest's words.
Why does Valeria Falk not make people listen?
Because Valeria Falk has more empathy than those of the church normally do.
You have given me two truths, and so I will give you two. I did not kill those people in the village. A man named Matthias did. I may have convinced him it was in his best interest. But he was free to do as he would. And he chose to do as he did. You seek the culprit. It is he, the man who was the leader of the other four who killed Hans. Here's the other truth. You are allowed to wear the face you want. You have that right. You do not need to take somebody else's. You can take your own and make it what you want. And out of that, make people listen to you. Be not afraid. The vestment you feel perhaps protects you, but it is a lie, and the lie will always out. Find your true face and show that to the world. And therein will be your power.
If I may offer advice for advice. Well, I suppose first a question. So, you've used essentially what it sounds like one criminal to take care of others. What happens to the last?
Well, men of such vile disposition are often overcome by guilt and for their actions. And, well, what's to say what someone overcome by such guilt might do? Ground needs fertilizer. a new life to grow.
The thing about the face that is not my face is that I understand your morals are different than a human's. I cannot say what is just to you versus what is just to us. I cannot say what you should do with that man, but I can ask that you not harm someone who has not harmed you, like my friend. I cannot see how you would find that moral.
You're very brave. And the face you have just chosen to show me is very powerful. Yes. You reach out. You try to communicate with this thing. That's attaching itself to you. You hear, aren't you curious? Isn't that why you're here? You're curious.
Hmm.
You want to know how this works. You want to know what this does.
Right on the money.
Why not allow this to go to its natural conclusion then?
Because while curiosity has its ends, I'm not sure that this is mine.
And who are you to decide that?
Oh, I don't decide. I just have a hunch.
But wouldn't you want to know? You have done things before in the pursuit of knowledge, in the pursuit of secrets that others might find less than savory, have you not? Experiments.
I may have.
What if
What's
I
the
want
fun
to
in the
conduct an
knowledge?
experiment? What if I want to see what happens to your body?
Do you not know?
Well, I may or I may not. But you may react differently. It may be interesting.
And what if it isn't interesting? Do the rest of my friends go?
Are you so concerned for them?
Why should I not be?
Wouldn't you want to see what happens to them if it's different than what's going to happen to you?
Would I see it if it happens to me first?
There are ways.
Why hide? Why hide behind the veil of anonymity? Tell me. I'm interested in knowledge. If you're just going to wave it around my nose while I very possibly die, what good is the knowledge if I can't write it down, if I cannot share it? Why not just tell me? Scientist to scientist.
Because once you know everything, once you understand everything, once you've dissected everything, once you've elucidated every mystery, the world becomes gray. The world loses its wonder. The world loses its ability to surprise you. And you wake up in the morning and the sunrise is of no value to you. The soft breeze is of no value to you. Your hopes become despair. Your dreams turn to naught. Eventually, you sit there long enough, your bones fall apart. It is a world without poetry, without music, without color, without laughter, because you understand it all. You've lifted every rock, opened up every living creature, transformed everything into a formula. Where's the wonder then? Where's the
Oh,
joy?
what hubris you have to assume that I, already halfway through my life, will ever reach that. Ever. There is always more. Always. I could not even dream or fathom knowing everything in the universe. And that's where all of the beauty is. That is where I will find my poems. That, as much as I try, I will never know everything. That's just delicious.
And in the meantime, your hunger for this knowledge will continue to destroy. The men who are cutting down the forest around you don't see the beauty in it, don't see the value in it. And so they destroy it. Just as you will eventually lose that ability to see the true value of things as you continue to destroy them, trying to understand them. Your way of thinking is everything that is wrong with this world. But it is your way of thinking, and you're entitled to it. Simply be careful that the things you seek to understand will decide to fight back. And you see, the three of you, the branches that were climbing up Eliza's arm start to wither and die and slowly start to fall off her arm.
I think Raker breathes a sigh of relief at that. It's like, okay, thank God I don't have to try that. And looks around and is the hunter Torsten still out of it over there, or
Torsten?
I think at this point he's kind of like actually crouched down and in this rare moment is kind of like patting one of these roots and is just, I am sorry, and I am sorry because no one has told you that they are sorry, and you deserved to hear that. And you are so angry, and I'm sorry you are so angry. But are you angry because of what they did, or are you angry because you are alone? Because that anger will not go away. It's the anger I could wake up every morning and be consumed by, but the anger you could kill every person that has chopped down. a branch in this wood, let alone take the person you love, and it will not go away. If you're angry because you're lonely, I mean, I I don't have much to offer. I'm neither as smart nor as good as the others here, and I doubt you'll ever truly not be angry. And if something is coming after me, it won't stop. But I don't think this anger is good for either of us. And okay to be angry, be lonely. This is not helping anyone.
A bargain, then. I will protect you from what follows you. And you will protect me from the men with axes and saws and fire. And we will be together here, keeping each other safe.
That is what will stop this. I don't care for myself, but I care for this town, for what kindness they have shown me, and I care for human life. I care that maybe it will ease some of this for you. And if so, yes.
And don't let your friends harm me. And our bargain will be sealed. And you suddenly the wind comes back, hits you in the face, draws you out of it. You realize you're standing right up to the tree, like you're almost touching it. You turn over and you see your three friends are staring at Eliza as she's brushing something off of her arm. Ethan, you turn around and look at the hunter, at Torsten, and you see that are shaking their head and sort of coming out of a trance.
Mhm. Well, if everyone's had their moment, I think I figured out what is going on, what we're dealing with. Does anyone have anything they would like to share beforehand, or...
I mean,
I
she's
think
just lonely.
I
I
think
kind of...
there's nothing we need to do here.
I mean, I don't think the tree is not the problem. Ashwife, if you don't know, now you know. Basically, some people killed the person that she cared about who was protecting her. Caretaker, kind of. And those people who conspired to murder were the ones who've died, and there's one person left. And I think if we honestly just get regular authorities involved and have that brought to light, it'll be fine. But we need to go. I don't want to stay here.
I mean, if you want to deal with the remaining one, I'll be the one to stay.
Ricker looks kind of confused, like, why would you need to stay?
Like I said, she's lonely and
Oh, have you
she's
struck a
trying to
bargain?
stop. She doesn't want to keep hurting. And I don't I don't have much of a place to belong in the first place. And she needs someone to keep her safe.
I think that's admirable.
I guess. Hmm. Well, I mean, it sounds like she talked to all of us, so I'm sure we'll all have plenty of stories to tell at dinner later. But I mean, we know what we know now. We can let the toy man know.
So, tell me, what will each of you do in the next little while?
I think so long as we're in the town, Eliza's gonna go back to the tree every day and like ask blatantly just to share its knowledge. And every time it says no, she'll just leave and then she'll come back the next day. She'll just keep asking. She'll be very persistent. But if anybody asks her what happened, what conversation they had, she's going to keep that to herself.
Eliza's that kid that keeps going, why? Why?
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
Perhaps someday. Perhaps someday.
I think Torsten would actually ask Precure to make good on that promise of blackmailing the foreman. And
Oh, absolutely.
at the very least, get the lumber this specific lumber group out of town and start making plans that when another pops up that they don't do as much damage, or keep good on the promise to protect the ash wife if so. And he would probably set up like a small cabin near the cosps of trees, and otherwise just keep spending his days how he has previously.
Um. All right, I'll give you a recap after. That's cool. Who would like to go next?
I think Kirya. I think mainly they focus on assisting Tristan in specifically the protection of this area. They're very good at talking, so I think they would be trying to convince. Try to say, basically, try to make sure that legally this area is, if not impossible to be bought, much harder. Whether that's grounds on religion or what have you. Trying to find a way to make that difficult, if not impossible, to purchase this area of land. Or to get it bought for Torsten.
Riker?
That's all good plans. Ricker is immediately going to go back to the foreman and say, "So, turns out that wasn't an accident, now was it?"
Sure, I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know the name of the local law enforcement, by the way? I have some interesting information I would like to share with them.
What are you going to try to get out of this?
Honestly, I'm just messy. But also, people have died, and if you know something, you should say something. Because I, of all people, know if you play with fire, you get burned.
And so what will come out of all of this is that the other foreman, Matthias, who was the one that had been doing the killings, killing his accomplices, will be arrested and will be put in jail. The company, Sodra Timber Company, is not only a big company in and of itself, but it is a subsidiary of a very, very, very large conglomerate called Lock Spindler, and they have a lot of power. And while the operations will slow down in this area to a bit of a trickle, they're somewhere else doing the same thing as soon as they can. The man who was doing the killing, Matthias, had, you will find out, killed Hans because he wanted to be able to tell the company that they could come and cut in this area, because someone at the company was aware that there was a powerful tree here and they wanted it. So they knew that there was magic and power here and they wanted it specifically. And yes, you're right. So they had Matthias and his goons were the ones who killed Hans, and so the ash tree wife was having her vengeance. Mm-hmm. So having discovered that, Matthias will face justice. You will be able to get the company from, if not outright leaving, at least reducing their presence here and leaving certain parts of the forest alone. Thorsten will build himself a little cabin and live out at least a portion of the rest of his days, perhaps out here, safe from the shadow that's been pursuing him. Every day, Liza comes by, asking questions. Some days the ash tree wife speaks, some days she doesn't. But every day, Eliza's there asking why. And why. And why. And while no one owns this land, so it's not really possible to buy it or take control of it in any way, shape, or form, you will certainly be able to protect it and keep it safe from the predation of Sodra and other such companies. And as such, have managed to solve the mystery of the murders, the mystery of the goat who knocks, and made a friend in a tree. And that has been the goat who knocks. Thank you very much, everybody. Is everybody okay? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to add on. I think that if we do learn that someone specifically wanted like that tree because of its magic and power, I think that's where Raker would try to go next, is to figure out who that is and what they know, because they want to know more about themselves.
Well, you start digging into Lock Spindler and all that, you're opening a huge can of worms that so far has spanned 5 or 6 other series of Vaesen, so it's an ongoing concern. You can ask JD about it. Yeah, and you ask JD and Stephanie about it.
Okay.
Anybody else want to add anything? Something your characters will do? You're good? Hey, you were also amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Will, for this opportunity. Everyone at Live from the Apocalypse, everyone in the chat. Really appreciate everyone hanging out with us and watching this little game. And happy holidays to everyone.
We'll just do outros real quick, and then
All
I'll
right.
hop on and say where we're gonna go.
I thought you were gonna come in and do that, so that's why I was like. So please go ahead and tell our friends here who you are, what you got going on, where they can find you, all that good stuff. And we will start as with Ethan.
All right, yeah. I've been Ethan, also known as Hawk or Hawk Cooks in most online spaces. I don't have anything ongoing at the moment, but I do have an upcoming podcast called The Roundish Table that I'm hoping to at least have promo out for by the end of next week, and then hopefully more early next year.
Cool. Thank you very much. Super appreciate that, you being in the game, and good luck with that. Then you got Cook in there. Looking forward to hearing about that. Jess.
Hi, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'm Jess. I'm Freckle Sketches everywhere. You can find me on all socials as Freckle Sketches. I am your resident cartographer and TTRPG/video game variety streamer. I'm mostly found on twitch.tv/SoManyGames. I'm in 2 games over there. I'm in a Homebrew Dragonlance game, 5e, as the sweet Artisia Morty, Shifter, Poodle Moth, Fighter, and Rogue. Then I'm also on for Duval and Dragons as Zakria, our party mom and nature paladin. When I'm not goblining about over there, I'm just kind of hanging out on my socials, generally being a super Pokemon nerd and drawing all of the maps all of the time. So, drop me a follow, say hi. I don't bite, I promise.
So just ask why a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much, Jess. Alice.
Hi guys, I am Alice, she, they pronouns. You can find me pretty much everywhere online at Alice Hart. And the few places that I can't claim that, it's usually going to be Hellion Heart. You can find me on a lot of different streaming groups right now. The rest of the December with the holidays is a little sparse, but on the 20th, you'll find me playing Pathfinder over on Lost Caravan, where I'll be playing a barbarian named Gosselin Vanderbeek. Make of that what you will. On sometime on the holiday weekend, I will be joining Anya with Lalione Cosplays, playing Sean Bean's Northern Adventure Quest, where we'll all be playing different Sean Beans, trying to destroy the curse of death that he finds himself in so often. And on December 29th, I'll be back over at Lost Caravan playing Lancer. All of my other projects, follow me on social media if you would like to see more of me. Otherwise, you can reliably find me on the Actual Play Monster of the Week podcast, Welcome to Reddington. We are on a little bit of a holiday break right now before we start our next arc, which is a great place for anyone that would like to start a new podcast to jump in and catch up before we start up again. Otherwise, thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Thanks so much for being here. One does not simply end a death curse. You know that.
No.
But please try, because we all love Sean Bean. Thanks so much, Alice. Wraith, how you doing, Wraith?
It's me, Wraith. You can find me over on mostly Twitter at SlenderNoia. I am primarily over at Exquisite Corpse Presents. I am the Director of Operations as well as a main crew or a cast member on some of our longstanding games, which are all currently on holiday hiatus. But if you've got Saturday nights and Sunday mornings free in the new year, come check out our Sister Cities campaign, which is in its 3rd season. Post-apocalyptic art has been banned, and we are currently trying to fix that. And Sunday mornings, we are playing a Arthurian Legends Thirsty Sword Lesbians campaign. We've got 2 sets of twin princesses and maybe killed someone important, but maybe she's not really that dead. who knows? It's all magic and a lot. Other than that, I tend to pop up on just various channels. I very much like doing charity streams and also just getting to play with a wide variety of people. So whatever I can get my little raccoon hands on, I will. I think the only other thing I have going on right now is the 20th? It's on my profile somewhere, but I am co-producing a Tingleverse one shot with Gnome Ann. It's going to be on their channel. It is a combination of Hallmark and all of the tropes that come with it, with Chuck Tingle's universe. If you don't know who Chuck Tingle is, please be of age when looking him up, because a lot of his stuff is very weird erotica, but it's letting me do some really weird Photoshop photo bashes and getting to call it art. One of our promos is the Jingle Bell Rock dance from Mean Girls with raptor heads and other such things plastered on them. So it's going to be very, very fun. I'm playing a singing Bigfoot mailman. So that's the energy we're bringing there. So please come help pay our cast if you would like to donate to that. But otherwise, just come hang out and be weird with us, because it's gonna be something.
Awesome. Thank you, Wraith. It was excellent to finally get to play with you. Thank you so much for being here. Hilo Fettuccini. Yep, there you go. Fettuccini. Let's make an appearance. I am Bleak Season. You can find me on my own channel, Folk and Myth. It's currently called The Bleak Season, but as of tomorrow, it will become called Folk and Myth. We got tons of good stuff coming up in the new year. Thank you so much, LFTA, for the invitation to come play here. Thank you to my players. You were all absolutely wonderful. Loved each and every one of you. Will, take it away.
Hello, it's me. I'm still Will. I'm still here. Talk about some LFTA stuff tomorrow. We have our ongoing D&D 5e campaign, Veilbreakers, where the players died in the first session, and now they have been given a second chance to avert the apocalypse. Check that out. I don't think it's going to be holiday themed, but it is technically part of our fundraiser. Monday, we will be back with Santa's Little Helpers, which is a game that I'm playing in and I'm frankly kind of terrified about. The only thing I know about it is that we are all goblins, and apparently they reproduce by sweating. I've only been sent screenshots of the rules, and it's scary. But that's going to be a lot of fun. Check it out. On Monday, Tuesday, another D&D 5e campaign, class reunion, the one that I run, which is about a group of high school students from Ohio who have been trapped in a fantasy world for 10 years. It's very fun. It's gayer than you think it would be. And then we're recording our Monster of the Week actual play podcast live on the channel, Cryptid Community College, probably, fingers crossed, on Wednesday. I think Thursday is Redacted, which is our psychological horror game. And then the 22nd is the finale of a season of Secrets and Shadows, Season 2, which is our Regency Monster Hearts game that is run by JD. And I will be playing in that. I will be playing Abigail Donatelli, aka the best, worst girl. And I think it's the next week. We're only halfway through the month. I'm not going to go into the week after that. But if you're not already following the channel, you can do that. We are on a lot of different socials that are in the chat if you want to, or you can join the Discord community, which is a great way to get to know us. It's a great place full of great people. We would love to have you be a part of it. But I think that's pretty much everything. So I will just say thank you so much to everybody who played tonight. And I will say thank you to Bleak for running another amazing holiday game. We raised a lot of money. We are only $75 away from our goal. Currently, we may have to extend it again. There's half of a month left. But we're going to hop over and raid Lost Caravan. Some of our friends are streaming tonight. So come along, say hi. But I think on that note, it's going to do it for us here. So say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.